And now for a quick peek into the plastics department. Wurlitzer pioneered the use of plastics for decorative purposes. No one knows more about how to work them, shape them, form them, or use them than Wurlitzer. And no single product has better capitalized on the eye-arresting power of colorful plastics than has the Wurlitzer coin-operated phonograph. Here are the cabinets again, ready for a rub-down. First by machine, and then by hand. To date, no amount of experimentation has produced a good substitute in this work for man's strong back and man's strong arm. This may be the hard way, but it is the best way. And that's the way Wurlitzer wants it. This is what's called the door trim line. Paralleling it is the cabinet trim line. This is modern mass production at its best. Along the door trim line are installed the selector trim casting, the side pilasters, the metal grill plastics, record changer compartment window, and a number of other units composing the door assembly. Come to think of it, it's difficult to recall any object, unless it be a bank vault, where the door is more important to the general scheme of things than it is on a Wurlitzer jukebox. The cabinet trim line is another center for the assembly of a host of parts that flow here from all sections of the plant. Along this line, each unit acquires the decorative record changer compartment panel, the back door, the light shields, the trim castings, the speaker door, the locks, the lamps, the sockets, and many other functional and decorative features. Each one of these parts in a modern Wurlitzer contributes in its own way to either the eye appeal or the ear appeal of these instruments. It's interesting to note that the entire cabinet and door are metal framed for extra ruggedness. It's this skyscraper type of construction that has won Wurlitzer commercial phonographs their reputation for rendering long service. And if you'll pardon us for blowing our horn just one tiny toot, it's one of the reasons why Wurlitzer sells more commercial phonographs than all other manufacturers combined. Again, that ever-recurring job, inspection. Does it pass the technician's test? It must. And when it does, it's ready for final assembly. But hold on. To date, it's only a shell. Couldn't play a note. Into it must go myriad parts and sub-assemblies from the metalworking division. And that's where we're headed now. Every day, large quantities of brass, steel, and aluminum arrive at Wurlitzer's North Tonawanda plant. Immediately, they are tested for thickness, hardness, and chemical structure, and then placed in stock to meet the requirements of the metalworking division. Here's a look-see into that division. What a beehive of activity with Beehive Drone magnified a couple of million times. Hard to realize that the end result of all this noise is music. Sweet music, jazz music, jive music, swing music, good music, providing fun for folks of all ages. But getting back to the raw materials, they must first be cut and formed to required shapes and sizes, and often to tolerances as close as 5/10,000ths of an inch. In metalworking, as in woodworking, Wurlitzer has set its standards of quality, and believe me, they're sky high. The men not only check parts for the phonograph, they check the gauges, which are used to check the parts. But in metalworking, as in woodworking, you will find some operations best done by hand. Tool making and die sinking, for example, are still largely a craftsmanship business with human brain and the human hand coordinating. Yet, occasionally, the tool maker's craftsmanship must extend into realms of accuracy beyond the power of the craftsman. $10,000 for this jig borer. It must be mounted in concrete to dead level accuracy. It may not bore 3 holes an hour, but the millionth inch accuracy of those few holes assures the accuracy of hundreds of thousands of phonograph parts. Dies, over $500,000 worth, are used to produce the current model Wurlitzer phonograph. Yes, it takes money as well as men and machines to win and hold Wurlitzer leadership. While we're here, let's look around and see what makes this division tick. Here's a battery of automatics. They're knocking out small parts, nuts, bolts, bushings that go into a phonograph. You'd hardly notice them, but unless they're right, the phonograph would not play. Let's look closely at one of these automatics. It takes a bar of metal and feeds it, spots it, drills it, recesses it, taps it, chamfers it, and cuts it off. Turret lathes, batteries of them, turning out more and more Wurlitzer parts. With modern equipment like this, Wurlitzer is independent of outside sources of supply. And with equipment of this kind, Wurlitzer has consistently turned out phonographs that have been the envy of the industry. Phonographs that get and hold the best locations because their music appeals most to the public. Phonographs that stand the gap in service and require less service because they are first expertly engineered and next precision built by modern methods to the original specifications. Whether it's applying felt-like covering to a phonograph record tray from a bare disc to a finished disc in one operation, or heat-treating the latest alloys by new heat-treat techniques, or plating with zinc and copper for protection, or with bright nickel, chromium, and cadmium for appearance, Wurlitzer has the experience, the equipment, the facilities, and the men to do the job. And now, before we leave metalworking, here's something as new as television. Heliarc welding, a fast, dependable method of joining metals never before possible to weld. It utilizes intense heat generated by high-frequency electric current and argon gas. It produces in a split second a joint without distorting or destroying the surrounding metal. Heliarc welding is used in constructing the front door on Wurlitzer phonographs and is one more proof that in metalworking, as in woodworking, Wurlitzer sets the pace of progress.